left off with the dominant 13s of flat 9. So we've got, let's see here, C13, flat 9. Oh, we'll also do an E13, flat 9, and B flat 13, flat 9. All right, so again, we're talking about diminished harmony here. I mentioned page 193 in Gary Lindsay's textbook. The chord scale, or the master scale for this chord symbol, is that half-whole diminished scale. So let's go ahead and spell some of these out. So we got C, E, G, B flat. We don't necessarily expect that we have to see the 11 here. If we did see one, it would be a sharp 11. So in other words, an F sharp we would have here, but it's not part of the chord symbol. If it were, it would be just above right here. We'd have a sharp 11, flat 9 like that. But we don't have that, so we're not going to worry about the sharp 11. And our 13, of course, which is the A right there. The E13 flat 9, we've got our E major triad down at the bottom here. It's really a 7th chord. By the time we add that D, we got our flat 9, and then the C sharp. And the B flat 13 flat 9, we've got our B flat, dominant 7, a C flat, which you'll see written as a B natural a lot of the time, and then a G like that. All right, so I'll play some of these for you. And again, it's just a little more colorful than the C7 flat 9. All right, so we've got, it's a really nice 5 dominant chord. It's got a lot of nice tendency. Okay, and then the B flat. Okay. All right, so then we've got our first instance of a dual extension. So we've got 2 chord extensions on this next example. And I talk about this at some length. We talk about this in the tutorials about, well, do we want to notate this as a C7 as it appears in the text, in other words, which looks like this, a sharp 9 flat 13. We call this linear when we see the extension numbers running this way and they go from lowest to highest. Or do I want to see it appearing stacked like this, in which case the higher tension is on the top. And usually these days there's more and more of this. Okay, so in other words, stacked is preferable now, just to save space. Either is correct. So let's go ahead and do a few of these. So we've got our C7, and let's do them stacked. Flat 13, sharp 9. Let's do a G7 with a flat 13 and a sharp 9. And we'll do a D7 with a flat 13 and a sharp 9. We usually don't get the 5th with these chords, and that's because if you look at Gary Lindsay's page 193, you'll notice that these chords are related to the melodic minor scale. Specifically for this one, the C7, the parent scale is the C sharp melodic minor scale. So in other words, we've got this, that aggregate of notes. So you'll notice that there's no G natural in there anywhere. Okay, so the most common voicing for something like this would be having the 3rd on the bottom, the sharp 9 on top. We talked about that a little bit earlier. Again, it's because we want that compound minor 2nd. So there's my 7th, and then the flat 13th is of course right there. It's possible there's a sharp 11 in there also, but it hasn't been indicated in the chord symbol. Okay, so we just won't worry about going there right now. So that would probably be the most sort of stock in here. All right, so we're going to write a few of these out. All right, starting up here. C, E, A flat, B flat, and D sharp. Okay, and then if we do that again over here, we would have G, our third. Again, we're not going to worry about the fifth. Flat 13 is an E flat, F natural. Sharp 9 is actually an A sharp. You'll see it called a B flat a lot of the time. And for our D7 here, we've got the D, F sharp, B flat, C natural, and the sharp 9 for this one is going to be an E sharp. Again, these sharp 9s are commonly, very commonly, I would say most of the time, spelled enharmonically because they just get to be funky. All right, so we've got C, G, and the D. It's a very jazzy chord, sort of stark sounding. Lots of alterations going on there. Okay, it'll be a more advanced chord. To our minor type chords. Okay, it starts really easy here. Just a minor triad. You should all know this, but I'll do a few of them anyway. So, C minor triad, F minor triad, that's supposed to be an A flat, followed by an A flat minor triad. Okay, really, really simple. One thing that Lindsay doesn't mention at this point in his text is the idea of a minor triad with a major 7. It's an important sonority. So in other words, these are minor triads with major 7s up on top. You know, what I'll even do is I might even notate that as an E natural there, just so there's no confusion as to what's meant, because it's a little bit of an unusual chord. We don't use it that often. So minor, major 7, often you'll see this in parentheses also. Like that. All right, so I'll play a few for you. They have this sort of stark quality to them. That's of the minor with a major 7. All right, minor 7 chords now. All right, so we've got our C minor 7. We'll do a B flat minor 7, and how about an A minor 7? All right, so minor triads on the bottom. There's our lowered 7ths. It's an A natural. All right. You know, one thing you notice, though, that's interesting about this chord is that really the C minor 7 is the same thing as an inverted E flat 6. You see that? If I were to put E flat on the bottom here and put the C up on top, well, then I'd have an E flat 6, which is kind of an interesting thing about how this inverts. So C minor 7, B flat minor 7, A minor 7. All right. There's our minor 7ths, and for our minor 9s, I'll do the same thing I did earlier. So I'm just going to build one more on top here. So we've got a D, and I'll make room for a C, and I'll make room for a B up here. Just adding color at this point. Chords. These last two are 9s. All right, moving on to minor 6. So here, and we'll do a B minor 6. So we've got our G, A natural. Okay, it's not a C minor with a flat 6, which is a cool sound, but we're just talking about the C minor 6, so it's a natural scale degree number 6 there on top. So E flat minor 6, E flat, G flat, B flat and C, and then here for the B minor 6 we've got our B natural, D natural, F sharp, so it's a minor triad with natural scale degree number 6 again. Okay, so those sound like this. Of course, each one of these chords has its own distinct sound to it. Next, we're getting to our half diminished chords, and you'll see often the diminished symbol looking like this, the empty set 0 with the 7. We're not going to use that for this class. It's just unclear. It gets confused with diminished and a host of other problems. So I'd like you to use minor 7 flat 5 for these. All right, let's go ahead and spell some of them out. So C minor 7 flat 5, we'll do a D minor 7 flat 5, and G minor 7 flat 5. You know, bear in mind that the bottom part of this chord is a diminished triad, right? That's diminished, and then we've got lowered scale degree 7. So it's kind of like a combination dominant and diminished chord. Really, really commonly used, certainly in tunes that are in minor keys. Around the C natural, and then a G, F natural, D. Okay. All right, that's half diminished. Getting to augmented here. Our C augmented, and we'll do an F augmented, and we'll do a flat augmented. So we've got C, E, G sharp, right? That's our scale degree, our raised scale degree number 5. F, A, and C sharp. And then we've got B flat, F, and A natural. All right, so we've got all right. Notate these as a dominant 7 with a sharp 5. But there is a little bit of a distinction. Notice that the chord scale associated with is the whole tone scale. So, you know, sometimes what composers and arrangers will do is they'll indicate, as you can see here, Lindsay D plus 7. Some people write C7 plus, and what they're really saying here is, yeah, it's also got a sharp 11 in it, because they're associating it again with that whole tone. Whole tone scale sounds like this. Right, it's a scale comprised entirely of whole steps. WC was a big fan. So let's go ahead and we'll create a few of these. So we've got C. I'll use the notation Lindsay's using for now, which is plus 7, and we'll do an E plus 7. All right, so we've got C, E natural, G sharp, and B flat. And here we've got an F, A natural, C sharp, E flat, and then E natural, G sharp, B sharp, and a D. So we've got like so. Kind of a mysterious sounding chord. All right, the last two examples here are both diminished. We talked about these in the form of 7 and 13 flat 9 earlier, but these are just the stock diminished, okay? Equals diminished. Preference for us will be to use the 0, and we've got, let's just do C diminished, and we'll do an A diminished. So we've got C, E flat, G flat, B, D, F natural, A, C, and E flat. So, yep, they're all diminished chords. All right, so diminished 7, we're just going to add to that. So we're going to create this. And now we have C fully diminished 7. So, of course, the correct way of notating this is with a B double flat. And we've got an A flat here on top for the B diminished 7. And for the A diminished 7, we've got a G flat. I'm just going to park that there for now. So we've got fully diminished 7s. Okay. So that's our overview of chords. And if you haven't already, please check out the notation program specific tutorials on symbols.